The hot topic of the hour, JP Morgan Chairman and CEO Jamie Dimon in an exclusive interview with me yesterday on AI investing and cryptocurrency, plus regulation and also investing in the private credit space. We also talked about socialism coming to New York City, but we began by AI and jobs. Watch this. Jamie, what's your sense of jobs? Because here I think there's a little more nuance to the story. It's not just about the macro story. Now you've got to look at artificial intelligence and the fact that AI is creating efficiencies to the extent that it is cutting jobs. What is your plan to ensure that Americans are ready for this new revolution that's underway with AI?
Yeah. So I think before you do AI, jobs have gotten a little weaker, wages have gotten a little weaker. And when you talk to businesses, they're going to be a little more cautious hiring. That's not because of AI. That's just because they want to do more with less, and they look at their order books, et cetera. And look, I don't think AI is going to dramatically reduce jobs like unbelievably next year. I think AI is real. We've been doing it since 2012. We have 2,000 people doing it, 500 use cases. We have large language models inside the company that we're using on our own documents, our own processing and stuff like that. We use it for risk, fraud, marketing, design, note-taking, idea generation, error management. Agents are coming. And for the most part, AI is going to do great stuff for mankind, like tractors did, like fertilizers did, like vaccines did. It'll save lives. We'll be working, maybe one day we'll be working less hard, but having wonderful lives. So it'll cure a lot of cancers. It'll have composite materials. Now, of course, it needs to be properly regulated. There are downsides to AI, just like there are to airplanes, pharmaceuticals, cars. All things get used by bad people. So assuming that the government figured out some way to put guardrails around AI, but it will eliminate jobs. That doesn't mean that people won't have other jobs. My advice to people would be, critical thinking, learn skills, learn your EQ, learn how to be good at a meeting, how to communicate, how to write. You'll have plenty of jobs. And if it does happen too fast for society, which is possible, we can't assimilate all those people that quickly. Like if you look at, what happened in farms and the internet and electricity, it took a while. This may be a little bit longer, and it'll be a little harder to assimilate people. If we can't, we government and we the companies, society should look at how do we phase it in a way that we don't damage a lot of people. Like we should have done a little bit more on trade assistance years ago when you had a town that got damaged by the closure of a plant. And that you can do. You can, retrain people, relocate people, income assistance, early retirement. And the next job may be a better job, but they have to learn how to do the job. And as you know, skills are, you can earn quite a bit of money with skills. And so, and then companies like us, we've been doing this a long time. We have what we call redeployment programs. We lose people because we close down. We go in, we look at a process. We go from 1,000 people to 400 people in a process. And almost always the 600 people get offered other jobs. They've got skills we like. They want to go. They could go and try other things. So I'm not afraid of it. We just maybe you're right. We should get ahead of it and maybe have some programs in place that can handle this if it starts happening too fast. I also don't think you're going to see it all happen this year. It isn't going to be like it's this year. Like if you look at this year, you have a huge amount of construction that needs to take place. And to do that construction, you need roads and trucks and drivers. You need servers, you need fiber, you need all that. So it's going to cause probably more jobs in the short run in total.
Yeah, we've talked about the fact that we're going to need more electricians and plumbers and, like you said, those trade schools. But, Jamie, I guess what I'm asking is, are we going to see any return on investment on all this money anytime soon? Jensen Huang told me that we're talking about trillions of dollars every year going into the build-out of data centers. Look at all these data centers that we have actually seen built in America. At this point, we've got about 5,000 data centers that have built for AI. When you add up all this money, all this trillions of dollars, where's the return on investment, Jamie? And when are we going to see it?
Yeah. So I think I heard, I haven't read it yet, but I heard we did a research report about how much. It's $5 trillion, and that includes everything: the data centers, the servers, the chips, the fiber. It doesn't necessarily include the power plant or the transmission lines, but and then we were going through today, like where's the money going to come from? Public, private credit, specialized type of finance, asset-backed securities. And there's another report that does talk about, what's the income that has to be paid to those units to make it worthwhile. So I look back at the internet a little bit. A lot went into it there was a lot of success. A lot of people didn't make it. It turned out differently than people thought when it started, and I think you probably get some of that here. There will be big winners. You remember out of the internet, you got Google and Facebook and Amazon and tons of others and whole new technologies. But it took a while for some other things to come in, like the iPhone or something. So here, it will eventually pay off. Who pays off, who the winners are, who the losers are, which models win, which new chips. I'm not talking about the chips today, but the chips in 5 years. We don't know how it's all going to play out. But AI itself is real. It gets, you actually look at the price of AI almost by the minute now, because you can actually buy a chip on time, like by the hour if you have to. So we'll see. We'll try to see how it plays out. But I think in total, it will pay for itself.
Just fascinating. I know the hyperscalers have spent trillions already, but Jamie, how much are you spending on AI? Analysts tell me you spend about $18 billion a year on technology. Can you break it down and tell us how you spend that money?
Yeah. So the 18 billion we call it 9 billion to run the bank. Think of the data centers, applications, networks, cyber, all the things we do just to run the bank. And maybe some number, not quite 9 billion, but like 9 billion is the future. That's new applications, new security protocols, new data centers, public cloud, private cloud. We use both the public cloud and the private cloud. We're reformatting all our data. You have to change the format of the data so it's usable by machine learning, generative AI, and other AI techniques, et cetera. That's all being done. We spend quite a bit of money doing AI. We get, and it's not quite $1 billion. I said publicly somewhere too, but we think we have at least $2.5 billion of benefit from that, and that's on costs, speed, lower fraud, higher prospecting, more efficient marketing, fewer customer errors. So it really is a very broad-based thing. We try to analyze. We don't analyze all of it because you can't tell in some categories. And whenever we meet as a company, at any business, we sit around a table, we go through, and this has always been true. What are you doing to do a better job for your clients and the company in the future? And that's operations, technology, AI, process, procedures. Obviously, look at competitors, pricing, all these various things. But we're always trying to assess that. We also watch what a lot of other people do. It's pretty extraordinary. I mean, people have come up with some fabulous ways of doing things, and we're not timid about looking at that and then saying we need to do that too.
Really exciting. And I was with Paul Atkins the other day, the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, who told me that financial services as an industry is moving further and further toward tokenization. Jamie, what can you tell us about tokenization? Is JP Morgan moving there as well? And how is financial services changing with regard to tokenization and digital assets?
Yeah. First, I want to applaud the SEC commissioner for getting on top of this issue about why we have shrinking capital markets, public markets. So we've gone from 8,000 public companies in 1996 to 4,000 today. I'm not against private credit or anything like that, but a lot of things are moving out of the banking system. We got to look at what we did. We overdid it with rules, regulations, ISS and Glass Lewis, and it damaged some of the vibrancy of our capital markets. We still have the best in the world. And so now if you look at our capital markets, it's been adopting technology nonstop. I mean, for years, mainframes, processing, algorithms, cost virtually nothing to process trades. We moved $16 trillion the other day. In one day, $16 trillion. It goes through our AML systems, our risk systems, sanction systems, fraud systems, OFAC systems. It's cheap, it's fast. So we've always been using technology to do a better job for the client, and we're going to do the same thing in tokenization. So tokenization, blockchain is real. It's been around for quite a while, but now it's becoming more effective, more efficient, because people are finding ways to do it faster and cheaper, permissioned or not permissioned. Smart contracts, I think, will probably be real. We're working on stablecoin and a JP Morgan. We have a JP Morgan deposit already, and think of it as a token, which is a deposit. We can pay interest on it. And as a payment system and a network, we're involved. If we can use things like that to do something better, faster, cheaper for clients, we're going to. And it's just kind of the next generation of things that might do that. It should work for international payments better. There are other things that won't work well for, like, in big wholesale payments, I would say, why would, if I'm sending money to Fox and I send them a stable coin, they're going to say to me, just give me my money. Don't give me your stable coin. And so we'll work it through. To me, this technology is going to morph over time, and we will kind of want to be in the mix so we understand it, we utilize it. There may be industry or groups that do it like DTCC, where it needs to be interoperable. And it is also important for you and the people to understand that we need some kind of guardrails around it. Because when we do a lot of things, we have to follow rules and regulations and pricing and best price and best effort and AML, KYC, and this needs to have some of that too. So I think regulators and governments, they're all over the place in this, but at one point, hopefully, they'll come up with rules and regulations that make it a rational, usable, fair product.
Well, I mean, it takes me to regulation, which, of course, we're seeing rolled back in a number of areas, whether it be the Federal Reserve and what you hear Mickey Bowman talking about, or, I mean, even today, there was a rule that was rolled back, the rule that was rescinded from a 2013 regulation that severely impacted leveraged lending. And I'm wondering, now that that rule is being changed, does that help you get more aggressive against the private credit market to better compete against some of these non-banks that have been taking market share, like the Apollos of the world, Jamie?
Yeah. So I think in the big picture, okay, we massively overdid stuff. We all want a strong system, and I've said this to regulators for years. We can have a safer, better system, but it's more flexible, it's more reliant, it's more resistant, it'll lend more, it'll create more liquidity. What we did in some cases was completely asinine. I won't go through all that stuff. I've made that clear elsewhere. So I applaud the fact that there's going to be deregulation. And deregulation, or think of good policy, is free. So when you go around the world, go to Europe, et cetera, I say if you do things right, you'll grow your economy and you don't have to borrow more money or spend more money. Just fix the stupid process you have in place, which is kind of how you look at a company. And so you're mentioning one. We've always had competition. So we have this mosaic of a financial system. We've got private equity and hedge funds and private credit, and among banks, and among all those, there are good players and bad players. So it isn't really just us versus them or something like that. But I do think some of these regulatory stuff, including the leveraged lending rules, push some stuff out of the banking system that you may get more competition. When it comes to direct lending, some of these people are very good at what they do. There are reasons why people are using it, because the client wants it, and that's a pretty good reason sometimes. We're agnostic. We will offer a client syndicated lending, direct lending, preferred stuff. We'll do anything that we think is reasonable and makes sense, that's in the client's interest, and the risk that we're bearing is reasonable. So but I do think changing these rules will do some of that around market making, the speed of issuance, disclosures, the cost of doing some of these things. So I do think it is a really good time for regulators, not in anger, not in sorrow, not in anything. Step back, look at what we did, analyze it, talk about what you want to accomplish, and make a set of coordinated changes. And we haven't done that for 10 years.
Unbelievable. Jamie, how's the consumer doing? How would you characterize the banking backdrop? And do you foresee credit problems? I mean, we talked about that in the third quarter a bit. Do you see any further evidence of deterioration there?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. So the consumer, I'd say, is fine. If you look at credit law stuff, they've kind of normalized. They've gone back to where they should be, kind of. Delinquency rates are normal. They're spending money. But what's going to drive future stuff is jobs. We do see a little weakness in subprime auto. You can analyze it. It's hard to tell whether more than you should have under this level of unemployment. And in the wholesale credit side, which is the one I was referring to, I wasn't referring to private credit. In credit writ large, underwriting standards have loosened. That's true. People are getting aggressive. We're walking away from stuff. We just think it's just unreasonable. And underlying standards, you look at like PIK loans or certain covenants or, the aggressiveness or assumptions that people have on whether a deal will work out. They were aggressive, in my opinion. So if we enter a cycle, I would expect credit losses will be worse than people think. I'm not sure of that, but I just suspect that. And we've seen a few elements of that. Again, I have to point out, I don't like when people say private credit. It's not everybody in private credit. Just like it wasn't everybody in mortgages. There were bad actors and there were good actors. And the ones who usually create all the problems are the bad actors.
Jamie, let me end on what we're seeing across the country right now in this sort of pivot in some areas towards socialism. I mean, you've just built this incredible building in New York. Are you the largest, employer in New York right now? And you've got Zoran Mamdani talking about socialist policies. What are you expecting when he takes office in the new year?
Yeah, so my experience in life has been that some, people who don't really have a lot of experience running a huge bureaucracy, and I think the New York City is 300,000 people, and some learn how to do it and some don't. A lot of running it has not a damn thing to do with Democrat, Republican, socialist, capitalist, anything like that. It's the police, the fire, it's hospitals, hotels, streets, crime, subways, and that's management. And so the first thing is here we have a common interest. We hope he does that well, and whether he learns to or not, I don't know. I do think that very often ideology blinds someone to reason. And if he's too ideological for whatever reason, it can blind the reason. So his policies are well known. I don't know what he really believes, doesn't believe. We're going to find out. And we're going to try to be a good citizen in New York and try to help him run a good city. We have a common interest in doing that because we love New York City, like our president said the other day. But we'll react. If we think he's doing terrible stuff, we'll make it clear and get involved in the fight to stop it.
Well, I'll tell you, you've seen an exodus out of New York as a result of the expectations. And is it true that you have more employees right now in Texas than you do in New York, Jamie?
Yeah. Yeah. So since I've been at J.P. Morgan, we've gone from 35,000 in New York to, I think, 26,000, and 11,000 in Texas to 33,000. And I just want to make the point, and this is true for companies, but when I started working, a lot of cities out there weren't competitive. I put Nashville in that category, and Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. I'd also put in that category Singapore, Hong Kong, London. Now they're all competitive. They all have schools and universities and subways and operas and food and all these wonderful things. Cities compete. And anyone who's running a city or a state has to look at it and say, I have to compete too. How can I do the best for the citizens of my state? And that is investment, jobs, growth, security. And so you've seen a lot of states, they're doing terrible, and they're going to put themselves in a worse and worse position. You've seen it with certain countries, you've seen it with certain states, and you've seen it with certain cities. And so, yeah, you can drive more people out. Now, we've got great people there. It's not all going to happen overnight. I'm not going to panic over it. I got plenty of other things to worry about. And we'll try to make it as best we can in this particular case.
And my thanks to J.P. Morgan Chase, Chairman and CEO J.P. Morgan, for that extended interview there. Jamie told me when we did the interview that he would have some breaking news, and we've got the news this morning. J.P. Morgan Chase has hired Todd Combs of Berkshire Hathaway to lead the bank's Security and Resiliency Initiative. That is why we did the story, to talk about this $1.5 trillion 10-year plan to facilitate, finance, and invest in industries that are critical to national security and resiliency. Now, they put out a list of the other people who are going to be on this advisory board for this initiative. The names are big, heavy hitters on J.P. Morgan's new Security Council. And they include Jeff Bezos, Executive Chairman of Amazon, Michael Dell, Chairman and CEO of Dell Technologies, Jim Farley, CEO of Ford, Alex Gorski, former CEO of Johnson & Johnson. You've got Bob Gates, former Secretary of Defense, Condi Rice, former Secretary of State, Paul Ryan, former Speaker of the House. J.P. Morgan announced this initiative in October, and they are talking about investing in things like supply chain, advanced manufacturing, defense and aerospace, energy independence and resilience, and frontier and strategic technologies.